6 lakh, 10,956 crore rupees.
That is a very specific and a very, very large number.
It's a massive number. It's the kind of number that, honestly, it just makes your eyes glaze over. But that's the headline figure from the Rajasthan budget 2026-27.
Right, the one presented on February 11th.
Exactly. And when I first saw that number, my first thought was, okay, great, lots of money. But where does it actually go? I mean, it feels less like a budget and more like a roadmap to the future or something.
And that's actually the perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
Because you're right, the scale is huge. But the real story here isn't just the money, it's the ambition. They're calling it Viksit Rajasthan 2047.
Developed Rajasthan 2047.
So this isn't just about balancing the books for 1 year. They are literally trying to lay the foundation for the next couple of decades.
And the goal is what, a $4.3 trillion economy?
Yeah.
That just sounds, I mean, incredibly ambitious.
It is. It's a huge leap. And to get there, they've structured this entire spend around 10 foundational pillars. So for you listening, whether you're a student in Jaipur or a farmer out in Bikaner, this plan actually has something specific to say about your life.
Okay, 10 pillars. So I guess our mission today is to break this down. We need to decode some of the fiscal jargon, right, like the deficit, and then get into the stuff that people will actually feel.
Exactly. Like the new social schemes, the tech stuff, it's all in there. So yeah, let's start with the money, the engine room.
All right, let's do it. So you mentioned the deficit, and, my brain immediately goes to debt, which sounds bad.
Yeah.
If I run my household on a deficit, I am in trouble.
That's a totally fair reaction. But in state economics, it's a little different. So let's look at the numbers. The fiscal deficit is projected at about 79,492 crore.
Okay.
Which is 3.69% of the GSDP, the gross state domestic product.
So 3.69%.
Okay.
Is that?
Yeah.
Good.
Hmm.
Bad. Should we be worried?
Well, it's significant, but it's not happening in a vacuum. A deficit isn't always bad if it's being used to fuel growth. And the GDP itself, the state's whole economy, is projected to grow to over 21 lakh crore.
So they're spending, but they're expecting the whole pie to get bigger because of that spending.
That's the idea. It's an aggressive investment strategy. It's like taking out a loan to build a factory, not to pay for a vacation. You expect a return on it.
Okay, that analogy makes sense. You have to spend money to make money.
Pretty much. And that spending brings us right to the first pillar, infrastructure, because a lot of this money is going into concrete and steel.
Right. If you want a multi-trillion-dollar economy, you need roads that can handle it. I saw a name that stood out to me, the Atal Pragati Path.
Yes, the Atal Progress Path. They're proposing 250 of these in the coming year. That's about 500 crore right there.
Wow.
And that's not all. There's another 1,800 crore set aside just for state highways, flyovers, and bridges. It's a massive push to improve connectivity.
So they're really trying to smooth out all the logistical knots.
They are, and they're adding a layer of tech on top of it. Did you see the bit about the ITMS?
The Intelligent Traffic Management System.
Yes.
Is that just more cameras everywhere?
About 2,000 cameras, yeah, for around 100 crore. But the idea isn't just about speed traps, though I'm sure that helps the treasury.
I was about to say.
The real economic gain is from reducing congestion. Traffic jams cost a fortune in lost time and fuel. If an intelligent system can smooth out that flow, it's a direct boost to productivity.
That's a fair point.
Okay.
And infrastructure isn't just roads, of course. In a state like Rajasthan, water is everything.
It's liquid gold, absolutely. Yeah. And the Jal Jeevan mission for urban areas is getting a huge 5,000 crore expansion.
5,000 crore? That's a serious commitment to getting tap water into people's homes.
It is. And for Jaipur and the areas around it, there's a specific, really critical project, a new 650 crore transmission line from Surajpura to Chaksu.
That's a lifeline for the 1,000+ villages that depend on that water. But, while water is scarce, sunlight is not. Rajasthan is basically the solar capital of the country now.
And they're doubling down. They're developing new solar parks. We're talking 4,830 megawatts of new capacity.
Where are these going?
Mostly in the usual hotspots. Bikaner areas like Marisar, and then in Jaisalmer in the Raghav Sewa area. These are joint ventures.
So, okay, we got the hardware covered. Roads, water, power. Let's talk about the software, the people. Because any economic plan, it eventually runs into the question of jobs.
And that brings us to pillars 4 and 7. The headline number is a pledge for 4 lakh recruitments.
4 lakh. That is a lot of jobs.
A huge number. And they're trying to show progress. They say over 1 lakh are already done, about 1.4 lakh are in process, and they've even released an exam calendar for another lakh.
But, and this is a big but, we all know the story with government exams in the last few years. The paper leaks, the delays, it's been a nightmare for students.
You've hit on the biggest pain point. It's not just about creating the job, it's about the trust in the hiring process. It's completely broken.
So what's the plan to fix it?
Well, they're proposing something called the RSTA, the Rajasthan State Testing Agency.
Ah, so modeled on the national one, the NTA.
Exactly. The idea is to have one professional, dedicated body to handle exams transparently. If, and it is a big if this works, it could be a game changer for the mental peace of millions of young people.
If it works is always the key phrase, but at least it's an admission that the old way failed.
What about for students who are still in school? I saw something about e-vouchers.
Yes, this is a smart idea. For high-achieving students in classes 8, 10, and 12, they're giving out e-vouchers up to 20,000 rupees.
So they can buy their own tablet or laptop.
Right. Instead of the government buying a million tablets that might be outdated, you empower the students to get what they actually need.
That makes a lot of sense. But not everyone can get a government job. What about entrepreneurship? That's where the Mukhyamantri Yuva Swarozgar Yojana comes in. It's a loan scheme. They're offering interest subsidies on loans up to 10 lakh for a lakh of young people.
So helping them start their own thing.
Exactly. That plus new techno hubs and a startup program they're calling Vibrant. It's all about shifting the culture from just seeking jobs to actually creating them.
I love that. But you know, the one thing in the governance section that really jumped out at me wasn't some big new agency. It was an app. WhatsApp.
Yes, this is one of those things that sounds small but could be huge.
We're going to be dealing with the government on WhatsApp.
That's the plan. They want to launch 100 major services through WhatsApp. And if you think about it, it's brilliant.
How so?
Well, getting people to use a clunky government website is hard, but everyone knows how to use WhatsApp. Your grandmother, a CEO, everyone. If you can apply for a birth certificate from a chat window, you've just removed a massive barrier.
It meets people where they already are digitally. I get that. But my next thought is security. You know, cybercrime.
They've thought of that. They're establishing something called the R4C.
R4C. Sounds like a droid from Star Wars.
It does. It's the Rajasthan Cybercrime Control Center. As governance moves onto your phone, they need a dedicated team to protect that data. It's a necessary step.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's shift gears to something that genuinely surprised me. Budgets always talk about hospitals and physical health. But this one had a whole section on mental health.
This is maybe the most progressive part of the whole document. It's a scheme called Rajmamta.
Rajmamta, what does that stand for?
Rajasthan Mental Awareness, Mentoring, and Treatment for All.
Wow, that's really comprehensive.
It is. The budget itself talks about the pressure on youth, depression, anxiety, and the plan is to set up mental health care cells in every district headquarters. It's a huge step to just acknowledge the problem at this scale.
To say that health isn't just about what's physically broken.
Exactly. That in a modern economy, you need a mentally resilient workforce. But they haven't forgotten the broken bones either. For that, there's Raj Suraksha.
Another one, what's this one?
Rajasthan's system for urgent response, accident stabilization, and hospital access.
That's a mouthful.
It is, but the mission is simple: speed. It's a system for rapid response to road accidents, heart attacks, maternity emergencies, the whole golden hour concept.
So Suraksha for the body, Mamta for the mind. I actually really like that balance.
It's a very holistic view of well-being.
Okay, what about Pillar 5, women's empowerment? What's happening there?
The main focus is economic independence. You know, the Lakpati Didi scheme?
The one to help women in self-help groups earn over a lakh a year, yeah.
Right. They've increased the loan limit for that from 1 lakh to 1.5 lakh. But the bigger deal is for the Nari Shakti Udyam scheme.
Udyam, so enterprise.
Yes. For women entrepreneurs and self-help groups, they have doubled the loan limit, from 50 lakh all the way up to 1 crore rupees.
1 crore. That's not a microloan. That is serious business capital.
That's scaling money. That's money to build a real business, a factory. It shows they see women as serious industrialists. And they're also upgrading 7,500 Anganwadis into Nandgars.
So the child care infrastructure is there to support the mothers who are running these businesses.
Exactly. It's an ecosystem approach.
Let's move out of the cities for a minute and talk about agriculture. Pillar 8. And I saw some words here I really didn't expect, like branding and carbon credits.
This is where farming gets really interesting and modern. They have this thing called the Raj Gift Mission,
Yeah.
geographical indication for transformation. So the idea is to take unique products from Rajasthan, get them a GI tag, and brand them.
Like champagne can only come from champagne.
Exactly. So a farmer isn't just selling generic spices, they're selling a premium branded Rajasthan product that commands a higher price.
I like that. But carbon credits, how do farmers get into that? I thought that was for big corporations.
Well, this is a pilot project, a first for the state. If farmers adopt sustainable practices that store carbon in the soil or reduce emissions, they can earn these credits
And then sell them.
and then sell them to companies that need to offset their pollution. So the farmer gets paid for their crop and they get paid for helping the environment. It's a whole new revenue stream.
That is fascinating. Literally monetizing sustainability.
It is. And of course, they haven't forgotten the basics. There's 25,000 crore in interest-free crop loans and 50,000 new solar pumps for farms.
That solar pump initiative is huge. It basically takes the farmer's electricity bill down to zero.
Which is a perfect segue to the last major pillar we should touch on, Pillar 9, green growth.
Hariala Rajasthan. Green Rajasthan.
The big target is planting 10 crore saplings.
A kankra.
But they're also focusing on cities. They're developing these model gardens called oxyzones in 16 districts.
Oxyzones. I like that name. It makes clean air sound like the medical necessity it is.
It is. Cities need lungs, and for the wildlife, there's Project Prithway.
Oh no. What does this one stand for? It sounds long.
It is the champion. Project for Resilient and Integrated Terrestrial Habitats and Wildlife Valorization Initiative.
Someone really wanted that acronym to work.
They certainly did, but it's backed by 1,500 crore. And it's not just about conservation, it's about reducing man-animal conflict, which is a growing issue.
So we've covered a lot. The deficit, the roads, WhatsApp governance, mental health, carbon credits for farmers. It really is a mix of old school infrastructure and some very, very modern ideas.
That's the perfect summary. It's a blend of hard infrastructure, the roads and solar parks, and soft infrastructure, like the testing agency, the mental health support, and the skills training.
And really quickly, any tax breaks in all of this.
A few things. There are some amnesty schemes for old tax disputes, and they're revising the green tax on vehicles to encourage people to buy newer, cleaner cars. All part of an ease of doing business push.
So putting it all together, what's the big takeaway? What's the final picture here?
I think it means Rajasthan is trying to pivot. It's trying to shift its identity from being just a heritage and tourism hub, which is still vital, to being a modern, tech-forward welfare state. That Viksit Rajasthan 2047 isn't just a slogan. This budget is the first real down payment on it.
It's a bold vision. A $4.3 trillion economy.
Very. And things like the carbon credit pilot and the focus on mental health show a willingness to experiment to get there.
Which brings me to the question I want to leave our listeners with. The ambition is clear. The roadmap is there. But we all know that in governance, there's something called the implementation gap.
That's the trillion-dollar question, isn't it? The graveyard of good ideas.
Can the government machinery actually move at WhatsApp speed? Can the RSTA actually hold a leak-proof exam?
That's what we all need to watch.
Exactly. So don't just look at the big economic numbers next year. Look at your phone. If that government service on WhatsApp actually works, if that next big exam happens without a scandal, then maybe, just maybe, this 2047 vision is starting to become a reality.
Those are the small signs that will signal the big change.
Thanks for listening to this deep dive. It's a huge topic, but hopefully we've made those 6 lakh crore rupees feel a little more real. We'll see you next time.